stream here at City Crypto. My name is David. I'll be your one host for today. Man, I'm excited to be here today. The markets might be a little dull. Might be sitting there saying, what the hell is going on with crypto? Bitcoin's teetering around 86, 87,000. Although I can argue that's a good thing. Is ETH dead? A lot of people are dunking on ETH. I'm going to make the case for ETH today. I think ETH's turn is finally here. We'll look at some stats. We'll look at some metrics. We'll look at some narrative-driven kind of focus and hype on ETH. But as far as the overall markets, I truly believe, without a shadow of a doubt in my mind, that once the tariff drama, the tariff saga, the dark cloud that is hanging over every investor, once that is lifted, I honestly think you're going to get like a 7-day rally that I don't think we've ever seen before. You can tell from the price action, you can tell from talking to people, you can tell from the way things are moving. We start getting a little bit of a rally, and then another news comes out, another tariff, another tweet, another, I don't know, Trump going off the rails, signing a new executive order, and the markets pull back. But the pullbacks we're seeing now are a lot less than we've seen prior when Trump got into office. This is Bitcoin on the daily, okay? Now, Trump got in office. Let's throw a little vertical line here. Trump got in office January 20th, right there, okay? Now, I don't have the exact dates of the tariffs and, when he signed this executive order, but you can see from the daily charts, okay, from the daily candles. You had this big spill-off, and I can only assume this was part of the news. This was a 3-day spill-off around 7.2%. You had a big one here. This was back on the 23rd of February. This spill-off, before we saw a little bit of a relief rally, was around 15%. If you take that move and you take it down to the wick, it was around a 20% retracement. And then this one here, from wick to low, was around a 15% retracement. Now remember, 2 days ago, or a day ago, it was the automaker, right? Any autos that are not made in the US that are going to be sold are going to be faced with a 25% tariff. And from wick to wick, that downturn, that move was around 3.5%. And so I think the markets are starting to get used to the whole tariff announcements. Pretty much it's not taking them by surprise, right? The markets don't like to be surprised. And so I'm telling you, everything that we are seeing, by the way, you guys like this, finally got on Market Cypher. I had it on my invite-only indicators. And I was watching, because I'm always watching different trading shows, trying to get some ideas from different people, trying to see how they interact with their community. Because what you guys got to remember, when I was trading, it's the difference between like trading by yourself, making money, and then trying to extrapolate that information to people watching you in a way that they can understand and digest. That is also not boring, it's fun. And so instead of just doing everything in your mind and looking at things, I'm like, okay, it's definitely a shift from going from that to actually talking about it for an hour on a live show and showing and walking people through how you got to the conclusion you got to. So I'm always looking to improve that side of my trading. And so I do that. And I was looking, I was like, I thought I had Market Cypher, which I did. And so you'll be seeing this oscillator, and I got Market Cypher A on here as well. So we'll be looking into those as well moving forward. And so a big shout out to CryptoFace and Market Cypher. I know a lot of people use Market Cypher. It's a pretty dope product. So if you don't have one, I would highly recommend it. It is well worth the money. I'll tell you that. But long story short, what we're seeing with the price action, and I like to look at the psychology of the candles, and it's just telling me that the buyers are just waiting. They're waiting for this nonsense to be over. And once it's over, I'm telling you, man, you're going to see 92K be taken in like a 4-hour candle time frame. We'll get 92K. We'll take this level out. The next level you're going to take out is this region here. This is between 95 and 100. Once we take out 95 and 100, we're going straight to all-time highs, my friend. 108 will look like nothing. And I think this is all going to happen within a 7 to 10 day period. I'm curious to know what you guys think. You guys kind of agree. Like I said, the way I interpret charts and information might be different than how you guys do it. But for me, the way I look at the dwindling retracements and the size of those retracements, we're seeing random spikes in volume if you go down to the lower time frames. And it's just this overhang of the tariffs. I think once that's gone, man, it's going to open the floodgates to the markets, to crypto. And let's take a look. Speaking of crypto, BTC at 87,254. Again, just kind of range bound, chopping sideways for BTC. I think what I did, and we can get rid of this since we're not talking about when Trump got in office anymore. But this range that we sat in between the 18th of November to the 24th of February, this kind of reminded us of the the March through, October range we saw here for BTC. This was before we had that breakout, this was between February 27th and November 6th. We kind of chopped sideways. And once we broke above our POC here, this is going again back to November of last year. November of last year. Once we broke above our POC, we came back for one more retest and it was back to all-time highs. And so our POC for the current range is currently sitting at 96K flat. Now, we did attempt to retest that back on the 2nd of March. We didn't quite get there. We got there at 95.2. We didn't quite get there. And you see the consolidation that has happened in this range. That would be the next key level. We're attempting to approach our value area low, which is sitting at 91.4. So you got that pocket there between 91.4 and 92.5, where a lot of price action has happened. So for me, I want to reclaim 92.5. And then we talk about reclaiming our POC. And then value area high, you're looking at 104,000. At that point, I think the market has velocity. There's going to be volume coming in, and you're going to see a lot of money pouring into BTC. And then we look at making new all-time highs, whether that's 180K, 250K, and then whatever your cycle high is. My cycle high is anywhere between 280 and 350. I know that's a big range, but for BTC, we're seeing a slow grind up. So I think things are looking pretty good for Bitcoin. Ethereum stuck at this $2,000 range. Now, one thing I want to share with you, Ethan, and I'll start here. So this is Exo charts, okay? So this is 1 week, and we did, I think, 187 days. Now, this is a volume profile on each weekly candle. And I want you to notice the yellow is your point of control within each candle. So obviously the price is rising, right? We're getting higher closes. But I want you to look at the POC, right? The point of control where a majority of the volume was traded. This is happening at increasingly higher levels, okay? So your POC here was right around 1888. The next week's POC is sitting at 1982. And the current week's POC is sitting above current price at $2,072. So the amount of trading, the volume of trading that is happening is moving up in tiers. So it's happening at higher price points. And when we go back and we take a look at an Ethereum chart here, now I got ETH on the daily. I do want to point out on the weekly here for ETH, we did get a positive retest of a longer term trend line. And this trend line goes all the way back to 2017 of June. This is where we had that initial retracement. We saw a nice bounce, a rally into cycle highs, which was around $1,400 for ETH. On the way down, we attempted to hold this as support, ultimately failed. On the way back up, this was back in 2020, going into 2021 bull market. We broke above with volume at this key level. We got a confirmation retest on a wick, and then ETH rallied to new all-time highs, essentially that double top we saw between May and November of 2021. Now, on the way down, we did catch support and see a little bit of consolidation. We did see a little bit of a relief rally. This happened back in 2022. ETH had about a 2x relief rally. Again, consolidation, right? Key level, consolidation, key level, consolidation. And the more important thing is, how did price react once we consolidated here? This was in the beginning of the bull market in 2023. ETH rallied around 160%. And that is where we're seeing a retest of this trend line, a positive retest of the trend line. And again, this is on the higher time frame, it's on the weekly. Positive retest. We We had a 6% candle going upwards, and now we're seeing a little bit of indecision in the market. If we zoom out to the daily chart here, we are creating and seeing a rising channel here on Ethereum, which, to be fair, do typically break to the downside. But we saw something similar with SWI, okay? SWI had, and I'll get back to ETH in a second, SWI had a rising channel, which again, typically breaks to the downside, but we saw invalidation here with volume to the upside. And again, we'll get into the SWI chart in a little bit, but I do want to focus on a little bit about ETH. So we have this rising channel, rising wedge, whatever you want to call it, that is currently forming. You can even call this thing a bear flag. And our POC for the range, and the range I have for our fixed volume range here is between August of 2024 and November of 2024. So that is, what is that? A 4-month, a 3-month, my math is off. A 3-month kind of consolidation chop phase for Ethereum. We did also what you see here, where ETH got its bounce. We have confluence on our trend line, which again on the higher time frame was very important. You also have your value area low for this range, which also was coincided with our trend line, and ETH got a really nice bounce. It just hasn't moved as fast as everyone wants to say. And I am telling you guys, retail aside, NFTs aside, I get it. That is what ran ETH in the last cycle, but this cycle is completely different. You have Wall Street, you have investors, you have accredited investors, you have institutions, you have BlackRock. These guys might be the new face of Ethereum. It won't be retail. We know retail is moving on to Solana, SWI, Cardano. But that in itself holds power. The amount of money that is transacted and moved that will be moved on chain with RWA is going to be happening on Ethereum. If anything tells us with the market share we're seeing ETH garner from the RWA world, I'm not saying throw all your eggs in the ETH basket, but don't have a zero allocation to ETH. I think that's a big mistake. We take a look at some metrics on Ethereum. So these are new contracts, according to CryptoQuant.com. New contracts have seen a massive spike going back to the beginning of February. So what does this mean? New contracts on the platform being deployed. You also have exchange reserves of Ethereum is at all-time lows. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, meaning there's not a lot of Ethereum on exchanges that could be potential sell pressure for ETH. And so that is a positive as well. And then you take a look at staking. I think this is going to be the big catalyst for Ethereum, is adding staking to ETFs. And this is what BlackRock said could be a game changer. And you look at the validators. This is from validatedq.com for Ethereum. This is over the last 90 days, a massive spike in the validator queue, meaning more validators are coming online for Ethereum. Could this be an anticipation for Ethereum getting the ETF approval to be for the staking for ETH? And then you take a look at an ETH versus Bitcoin chart. Again, a similar trend line to what we saw on the weekly here for Ethereum. Let's get rid of this. Similar trend line, longer term trend line going all the way back to 2017. We're seeing something similar on the BTC ETH versus BTC chart. You can take a look how important this trend line was. Initially got rejected, came back, got rejected, positive retest. So this essentially, long story short, this has been a support/resistance line. And this was where ETH really had its double bottom against Bitcoin, and it started its massive rally going into 2022. And look at where we are now. ETH came down. We had a confirmation retest, and that is where price is trading now. And I'm telling you guys, ETH, everything is telling me ETH is going to see a really nice bounce. We also had a green dot printed on the market cipher B on the weekly time frame for Ethereum versus BTC. And we're about to get, looks like, a potential anchor wave here. So we have a trigger wave. You have our anchor wave, and then we're looking for a trigger wave to form here with a green dot on market cipher B, which could give us a potentially good entry signal on ETH versus BTC. So that's kind of my thoughts on ETH. I know the morning show, we get a little bit of a different viewer base. What is your guys' thoughts here on ETH? Are you guys bearish? Are you guys bullish on Ethereum? I'm not saying ETH is going to be the biggest gainer in the top 100 or even in the top 10. But to completely punt on it, I think is a big mistake. Let me know what you guys think on Ethereum. That's my case for ETH. So do with that information as you will. I wouldn't put all my eggs in the ETH basket, but I'd put some of the eggs in the ETH basket. If you find 100 eggs, put 20 of them in the ETH basket. Put 15 of them in the Ethereum basket. All right, moving along. I saw this Circle officially crossed. I'm not going to do TA on a stablecoin, obviously, but Circle officially crossed 60 billion in market cap value. And I have been talking about the stablecoin narrative. And one project in specific that I have been talking about is Convex Finance. So I added to my Convex bag, and this thing has been rallying. Now, this is on the weekly. Let's go to the daily on Convex. Convex is looking really good, man. This is very similar to a SWE chart. Let's get rid of that. Yes, I want to leave you that. Bam, bam, no more. Okay. Very similar to what we're seeing with SWE, right? You saw a rising channel and then an invalidation on increasing volume. On Convex, same idea, right? Rising channel, which again, probability say breaks to the downside. Increasing volume, invalidation to the upside. And I'm curious where the 200-day moving average ribbon here is on Convex. And the similarities here are quite eerie. You saw an initial fail of the 200-day moving average and a spill-off for SWE. An initial retest of the 200-day moving average and a spill-off for Convex. And recently on this pump, we didn't quite get there on the lower band 3 here on the moving average ribbon, but essentially we got rejected here. We didn't quite make it. Convex, something similar, getting rejected. We take a look at market cipher B. You're seeing RSI start to heat up as well. Again, this would have been a nice anchor wave, but we didn't quite get our trigger wave. This flipped fairly quickly. You look at money flow as well. Money flow has officially, looks like, flipped to the green. So positive money flow on market cipher B. But again, what I look for in determining, is this a real move or a fake move, is what is volume telling us? Is volume telling us that there is actual momentum? Or is this a good area to short Convex Finance? My entry point for Convex is sub $2. And so this again fits into the stablecoin narrative. And guess where Convex is? Convex lives on the Ethereum, in the Ethereum ecosystem. And so for me, stablecoins, you're seeing what USDT is doing. You're seeing USDC officially hit 60 million or 60 billion in market cap value. And the stablecoin bill that is looking to be pushed over the next 2 months per the president, per his administration, you're going to see a lot of speculation, but also a lot of utility-focused pumps out of some of these projects. MakerDAO is another good one. Obviously, Convex is a good one. And so if you guys were paying attention and you guys were kind of watching our shows, I'm hoping some of you were able to get a decent entry on Convex Finance. And so another one is ASF, and that chart looks pretty ugly. But my big shtick for ASF is the Fidelity play, right? They're backed by Fidelity. This is on the weekly. This too, we're seeing some decent volume on the move here, right? Volume's still pretty low, but you're seeing the volume start to increase as price starts to make its move up. Let's look at market cipher B. RSI is on the way up. So showing a little bit of kind of velocity in this move here. And you're seeing money flow still in the deep green, or excuse me, still in the deep red on market cipher B. That's on the daily. If we zoom into maybe the 6 hour, you have a little bit of resistance here at around $1.54. Now this is a pretty low liquidity project. It's not on a lot of on a lot of centralized exchanges. You are going to have to go to DEXs such as Uniswap, but ASF is one that I would at least have a little bit of position on if you are bullish on the stablecoin / infrastructure DeFi play. We zoom into the hourly. Let's look at the 2 hour. Looks like I think on the 4 hour. So 4 hour, we reclaimed our 200 MA, which is good. We're looking to get a bounce off of this here. If we do get a bounce, this might be a good $1.30, depending on what price does. That might be a good entry for your spot and for your potential leverage trade bags as well. So ASF, we talked about Convex Finance. The narrative and the money is flowing to DeFi and stable coins. So don't be left sitting there watching these coins pump and people around you are making money, and your favorite KOLs out here making money, we're kind of giving you the info here. And so what you do with that info is completely up to you. But all right, I'm just going to check in with the chat here. Big thank you to everyone who is here. Also, big thank you to all the mods. Jason said 1750 min the cycle low for ETH. Yeah, you know, ETH is, I think ETH already put its low in. For me, like the Uber low would be like 14 to 1500 bucks, but I think ETH's low is in. I think it got to 1750. I think it was a cycle low for Ethereum. Wreck the Bear said, I have some ETH, but I don't think it owns the future. What future? Does it own the retail future? Probably not. Does it own the institution future? It sure looks like it, unless something changes fundamentally. But as of right now, the information we have in front of us, ETH owns the institution future. Liberty and Trust said, buy Bitcoin. Never go wrong with buying Bitcoin. Papa said, XRP, ADA, XLM, then ETH is next to rally. XRP, ADA, I love all three of them. I love all four of them. No problem with that. All right. If there's anything you guys want to take a look at, let me know. Also, Poman, I got you on Constellation DAG, my friend. I got the chart queued up right here. We'll get into that in a second. But I want to take a look at what the rest of the markets are doing. So XRP, now, if you guys remember yesterday, we talked about our limit long position on XRP was executed. And what I was looking at here was this $2.35 level. Now, where XRP is trading now, we are currently trading below our POC. This is a zone going back to December of last year. So December 2nd through March 27th, which is current, we've kind of seen price chop sideways. We've had some decent spikes in volume, specifically on the 3rd of March. We did have a little bit of bullish divergence here on XRP. As you can see, we're making lower lows. And on Market Cipher B, we are making, our momentum waves are making higher lows. So the bearish momentum was losing steam on XRP. I saw someone yesterday mention a potential head and shoulders pattern here for XRP. Let's take a look at that. And let me go ahead and we'll hide all these. We'll hide our fixed range. And we'll keep that on. So I forget who it was. If you're in here, shout out to you. But he called for a head and shoulders on XRP. And I mean, you have your shoulder. This is your head. And then your shoulder. And technically, we are getting some resistance at the neckline here for XRP. You know, it was interesting. I thought we were definitely going to get a bigger move out of XRP after the announcement of the lawsuit coming to a complete end. But again, when you think about that, when you sit there and you logically think, okay, when the summary judgment by Annalisa Torres was announced, it rallied pretty hard. When it was announced that Trump won, it rallied pretty hard. And then you have the final, like the case is over and we didn't really get a rally. And you're seeing volume has been decreasing on XRP, as you can see here. And so XRP, if it consolidates above $2.28, to me, that would be very bullish. And we set up for a flip of our POC here at $2.40. Now, I am still planning on staying in my long position on XRP. And my initial target here is going to be this value area high, which is around $2.64. That is where I'm looking to completely exit my XRP trade. I will be scalping some profits at around $2.56, as this was our previous week high for XRP. This is going back to March 19. So it's, previous week high for XRP. But the zone again, POC, we want to reclaim this POC, but seeing some consolidation here is a good thing. Is a good thing. You saw the last time we saw that here from just our POC, this is a 17% rally. And so that's XRP. I plan on staying in my short. Now, my invalidation point would be a break below 228. So if I get a break below 228, I'm looking to exit my position around 227. We don't want to get liquidated on or stopped out on a scam wick. But if we spend any significant amount of time under 228, I'll be looking to take that out and move forward and look for the next trade. Not necessarily on XRP, but really on anything. All right, I promised my friend Poman to do Constellation DAG. So this, as you know, I have not looked at this chart, so we'll do this together. First thing I like to do is go on the higher time frames. I start with the highest that I think might give me some info. So it looks like the monthly might give us some decent info. Let's plop some value areas here for Constellation DAG. That's one. We can zoom into the weekly. See if there's another value area here. Here's a pivotal area. Maybe not a value area, but at least an important area here for Constellation DAG. I mean, take a look. Now we work our way down to maybe the daily. Let's take a look at what price has been doing. And so we saw a little bit of consolidation here on the bottom end of our value area zone. And this actually looks like a harmonic here. God, harmonics are very confusing. You need to get your you need to get your fib levels like on point to trade harmonics. But anyways, Constellation DAG. If you're looking for a trade, looks like we are getting rejected on the top end of this value area here for Constellation DAG. I would like to throw on a few more indicators. First thing I want to do is take a look at our cloud. And so this is actually, and let me get rid of, let's get rid of this one. And this is actually pretty positive. This is on the daily too. So obviously the trend is still red according to our Ichimoku cloud, but we broke through the cloud, which is a good thing. And then we immediately came in for a retest, but we're holding above the bottom end of our cloud. And the bottom end of our cloud is sitting at around 4.69 cents. Now, if you follow the charting technique of Ichimoku, you do not trade while price is trading within the cloud. You do have your conversion line, which has broke above your baseline, which is also another positive. And it looks like this cloud is about to twist to green. Let's go to the 12-hour time frame. 12-hour looks really good. Also, you can see how important these cloud levels are. Now, we did get a positive. We do have a positive signal here from our cloud flipping green. That is our first indicator. Second indicator is the conversion line trading above our baseline, which it is. But look at these wicks. Look at these wicks. And so, but the only thing I'd say is this is a potential reversal candle. But on the 12-hour, it wasn't really a strong trend either way, whether it was up or down. And so what I would do here for Constellation DAG, seeing as it is closer to our value area, if you're looking for the absolute best price, and it might never get there. It might just get to its previous week high or previous week low, which would be a great spot to pick it up as well, which is right at around 3.77 cents. And just kind of zooming back, there's been a lot of times where this has been resistance. We had a little bit of consolidation. This is going back to May of 2024. And then a couple of bounces here on wicks, one on a close, one on a wick. And so if you want to remain kind of disciplined, or if you have a tiered system of DCing into projects, maybe look to buy at the retest here now at around 4.76 cents, or you wait and maybe do 50% here at 3.8 cents. And then maybe if you want to get some exposure to this project, you can do it here. Just know there might be a little more downside, but have some dry powder. I would definitely have dry powder ready if price does retest this region here to come in and deploy some capital for Constellation DAG. If you're bullish on the project, dude, yeah, I mean, now would be a good time to pull the trigger, maybe on a little bit of your dry powder here, as the cloud is holding up fairly well. And on the weekly, you got your 3 white soldiers here, but the only thing again is decreasing volume, something I don't want to see here. And the momentum wave did flip to bearish again. So that's it for Constellation DAG. As far as like fundamental side, I'm not too familiar. I know they're pretty big with like military and contractors. But yeah, from a price action standpoint, looks like that retracement is done, at least on the weekly. And you can see on the weekly here, 3.72 cents. If you get that price again, I'd be a buyer. But for trading, I'd wait. Spot bags, it's okay to buy a little bit. Of course, not financial advice, NFA. What do you think about virtuals and Alluvium? Alluvium, I'm not, when we did the almanac, Alluvium made it in the trading sector. That's the one problem with doing kind of stuff on paper. And you zoom out on the Illuvium chart. I mean, this is pretty ugly, right? This is not a sexy chart for Illuvium. And honestly, I think the meta for gaming, now there will be a couple of games that I think will really like succeed, and their tokens will also succeed. There's a big green dot here on the market cipher B on the previous week candle. But for me, Illuvium, I haven't really played it from a chart standpoint. This is not a good chart. I mean, you really like 38.56 was a pivotal level for Illuvium, and that thing just gave. It literally just gave. It didn't even attempt a retest, right? I mean, kind of did on a wick, but it just fell on increasing volume. Looks like it's bottomed out though for Illuvium. Before, what was the other question? Virtuals. So obviously I have a shitload of virtuals. I've been following the team, and I was a little concerned with what Virtuals was doing with their token as far as the agent commerce, the ACP. You know, they take a partial amount of fees. They stick them into some account that's converted into Bitcoin, CBBTC, so Coinbase Bitcoin. And a lot of the devs were saying we don't have access to this money. There was a lot of uncertainty. There's been definitely a lot more clarity. I know they're bridged to Solana. The timing wasn't the greatest for Virtuals as far as, Solana kind of hit its peak right when Virtuals decided to bridge over to Solana. But not to say that Solana is going anywhere. But what we're seeing now from the Virtuals team, I think is pretty bullish. I think they're finding creative ways to add value and continue to have buy pressure on their virtual token. And so the project, I don't think is going anywhere. I have a lot of virtuals. I am looking at DCA out. And we talked about the levels that I'm trying to DCA out of. I think my first level that I think I'm selling between 10 to 15% is around $1.50, $1.56. But as far as like price action, money flow is starting to, the negative money flow is starting to shrink. We did have a green dot here. It's on the daily. I want to zoom into maybe the 4-hour chart. We failed on a retest to reclaim our 200-day MA on the 4-hour time frame for virtuals. But this is kind of setting up for, not really. I mean, this is pretty ugly, but I guess you can call this a deviation, come back and then fail a retest and fail that again with confluence here on the 200-day moving average on virtuals. And again, everything rising breaks down. But we can see it getting validated, just like we saw with SWI and just like we saw with, what was the other one we looked at? That was rising and looked like convex finance. But for me, virtuals protocol, we did get a green dot here on market cipher B. So money flow, so money flow is shrinking as far as going from positive to negative. We did get a green dot here on market cipher B, and looks like RSI is taking back up. So we might get a decent move. So if you're a trader though, if you're looking to trade this, 72 to 74 cents is not a bad entry here for virtuals. I would be careful though, bumping up into this 200-day moving average, which is sitting right around 81 cents on the 4-hour. And so that's like a 5 cent. It's not that big of a, you got to think, is the risk to reward there? The risking of this pattern playing out, this thing rising, it eventually falls and breaks. It comes back down to retest this 55 cent, which by the way, if we get virtuals at 55 cents again, if you don't have exposure to it, the risk to reward for holding virtuals at 55 cents, the reward massively outpaces the risk at 55 cents. I can argue at 74 cents, kind of same thing. But if you want the best risk to reward for holding virtuals, wait for 55 cents. We might get it again. I don't know. AI is such a fast moving space. And, I wanted to share, I was going to share this during the live today, but we kind of went off topic by a lot. But this post here from David Sachs, okay? Take a look at this. Now, this is the crypto and AI czar for the president of the United States of America. And he reposted this. Okay, so he posted this back on the 25th of March in 2023. Every new technology wave causes the previous ones to be reinterpreted as stepping stones. And he gives examples: personal computers, internet, social, mobile, and AI, right? The reason we gave a computer ubiquitous access was to let it solve problems for us. Then he talks about AI, is the biggest wave yet. And then he quote posted it and said everything was leading up to agents, biggest wave ever. And who is at the top of that list for agents, an agent protocol and agent commerce is virtual protocol. Also, I want to share with you, to those of you that have been following us on Patreon or in our Discord, which, by the way, if you're not part of our Discord, highly recommend you go join us. But this is a project that we talked about, that we've been talking about. This thing just absolutely rallied massively. You look at the weekly chart here for DKing. This is still a 75% weekly candle here for DKing. We've had their team on the show. We're super bullish on them, and it looks like a bottom is in. That bottom was right around a $2.5 million market cap. This thing ran to 35 million. I think our Patreon members got in right around 2.5, or maybe even 3. And so those people are still in profit after what's the retracement here? After like a 90% retracement, we're still in the profit. And so, but this is something you can add Sally, you can add Billy Betts, you can add a bunch of different AI agent protocols and tokens. I think those ones are going to run. And when you got this kind of hype coming from the dude who literally his job is to advise the president on AI and cryptocurrency, I think it's super bullish. So you should have an AI portfolio. You should have a little bit of the infrastructure plays, but you also should have the higher speculative AI agent plays. I think they can do what meme coins did in 2021, where we saw SHIB run from nothing to over $44 billion. So yeah. All right, let's take a look at the biggest gainers over the last 1 hour. Hyperliquid seeing a nice bounce. You know, we talked about Hyperliquid yesterday, and I told you guys that I personally would not touch Hyperliquid now. We did get a wick to the very bottom of our value area here for Hyperliquid. Let's go to the 4-hour. Seeing some rejection on the 200 AMA on the 4-hour time frame. We saw that massive volume spike. We did get a green dot here on Market Cipher B. And so money flow is interestingly still green on the 4-hour. Looks like money flow is ticking up as well on Market Cipher B. Let's take a look. Something not a lot of people use is Market Cipher A. I like Market Cipher A. Looks like, yeah, we got a little bit of a trend change here. You see all these 7 moving average ribbons, 8 moving average bands that create this ribbon. Got a little twist. We'll see. We'll see if this thing, the only thing is there's no volume behind this move, right? Let's go down the 1 hour. We did get a continuation signal here on Market Cipher A. So we should be continuing back up. But again, we have that 200 MA on the 1 hour that gives us cause for concern, but not cause for concern. But if you're in a long, cause for concern of, hey, maybe I should wait. We did see increasing volume on the 1 hour time frame on this candle. So that's pretty good on Hyperliquid. But it's, I don't know. Are traders leaving? I'd be interested to see what the metrics look like as far as daily active users. Has that gone down? Maybe I'll do some digging into that today, and I'll do it on the show tomorrow. But I want to see, did traders lose? Did traders lose their trust in Hyperliquid? It's supposed to be decentralized for traders. With what happened, them kind of taking the control and liquidating everyone. I don't know. A lot of people don't like that, especially your diehard DeFi traders. And so we'll see what Hyperliquid does whether it's a long-term play. But this was one of the hottest tokens in 2025. It was super anticipated going into 2020, going into this year, towards the end of last year. And I think it was just unfortunate what happened. But that's the beauty of a decentralized network, right? If people can find a way to exploit it, they'll exploit you. And then hopefully you'll take note and you'll make your product a lot better. All right. That'll do it for the show today. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you. C. Frere said, is virtuals a good buy now? Well, I'm happy at least you're entertained now, Seifert. I saw you complaining in the morning saying that you're bored of the show. Is Rocho's a good buy? 74 cents. I think it's a good buy. Yeah. 55 cents, I think, is an excellent buy. But 74 cents, not too far off. I think it's a great buy. Either way, guys, thank you all so much. Come back tomorrow for the AM stream at 10:30 a.m. Pacific, 1:30 p.m. Eastern time.